why you seem like this today. It's nice to have you join us. And the press week continues actually. Today, so many other activities, and then on and on like that up until Friday. Let's start with a check on stories, headlines in the national dailies. This morning we start with the Vanguard newspaper. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, what do we have there? Let's check. The front page of the Vanguard leads with this story. Tinubu's new $8.6 billion loan bid. Assembly today talks proper utilization for fun, and then you're not seeing results. Of course, that does it on the Vanguard newspaper. Let's move to the Nigerian News Direct. The Nigerian News Direct of today also has some stories on the front page. Fubara emerges victorious. That's talking about Rivers gubernatorial poll. You find details of the story on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct of today. And again, stock market 4.7 billion naira loss. That's on page 9 of the News Direct, the Nigerian News Direct of this morning. Of course, the story we took the other time in the Vanguard newspaper, the version of the Nigerian News Direct reads thus: Tinubu 600 million pounds loans to defend 2024 budget borrowing plan at joint plenary session. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian News Direct. Let's hope that the defense will really be defense in the real sense of the word defense. Because I wonder what sort of question will be occurring there today. But for whatever it is worth, let's hope that there will be real and thorough examination of the intent and purposes for such fresh borrowing, especially at a time like this when the profile keeps soaring high. Now, on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct, you find this story. Governor Abiodun rewards TASUED graduating students with 2 million naira cash gifts. That's on page 2. I think that sounds like the first time we're having something reasonable coming to best graduating students against what we used to hear. Best graduating students taking a loaf of bread, taking 1,000 naira, and then the highest you heard taking as interesting as 10,000 naira in certain other plans. But 2 million naira is not bad, but then they'll do better if some people just lock themselves up in a particular room and in the name of whatever name they call the game show, I don't even know what Gerald should give to it, and so the person is going on with 120 million naira, and somebody who has excelled in academics is going with just 2 million naira. I think you could do better. Governors should also take a lead from what has done in this regard. Let's move on. Still staying with page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. Find this story: 256 crude oil theft incidents recorded in 1 week. That's according to NNPC Limited. Done. You look at the allegation. Maybe iniquities. I think more needs to be done to tackle that problem head on. Let's move on and check another tabloid this morning. The Daily Sun newspaper is next. Daily Sun newspaper will be leading us. Let's check stories perhaps that we haven't taken. On page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper, 18 IPOB members arrested over killing of 2 police officers in Imo. Justice must be done. You agree with me? Justice really must be done. as far as that is concerned. On page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper, electoral reforms. Jega calls for ban on cross-carpeting. INEC unbundling. That's on page 6. Many recommendations we found here and there, over and again, as far as electoral reforms are concerned. But which of these recommendations has really been implemented? Your answer is as good as mine. But let's keep our fingers crossed and see. We really get it better than we really doing it this time. Page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper is next. Appeal Court affirms Fubara's victory, quashes Nasarawa Assembly Speaker's election. That's where we find two sides of a talking drum, two sides of the coin. Happiness and rejoicing in one area, the other way in the other end. Of course, that's life anyway. Page 4 still, you find this story. EFCC's witnesses exonerate Emefiele on alleged 1.2 billion naira contract award fraud payment. Alright. Dividend prosecution, whatever it is you want to call that, will be the issue of questioning that will come in this in that case. Page 4, the Daily Sun newspaper has details of the story. Engineers hail Tinubu on road regeneration plan. Of course, that's not too big. Engineers hail Tinubu on road regeneration plan. That's on page 27. Page 27 of the Daily Sun newspaper has the story. Let me go back to page 4 of that paper. 1 killed, 2 escape with loot as vigilant confront armed bandits in Abia. We hope that those who escaped will be apprehended soon. Nwabweze is saying something, saying Ayago Iwanyawu heading National Burial Committee. Okay, that's talking about the burial of Nwabweze, the late Nwabweze. So Ayago and Iwanyawu are heading the National Burial Committee for the late statesman. Alright, let's move on and see. Okay, one more story there at the bottom part of the paper. Abia stops payment of salary of unverified staff. Well, goes to what you want to say there. Daily Trust is next. Let's check stories making headlines in the Daily Trust newspaper of this morning. Daily Trust newspaper is next this morning, and it's also leading with the intent of the president to take fresh 7.1 trillion naira loans. I was dropping the thing down from dollars to naira. So you find 7.1 trillion naira loan there to fund agri, health, road, water sectors. Nigeria's debt hits 94 trillion naira. Rising debt profile worrisome. Must expand revenue base. That's coming from experts. These and many more you find in the Daily Trust newspaper of today. Of course, we're going to take stories from the Vanguard newspaper, the Nigerian News Direct, the Daily Sun newspaper, and of course the Daily Trust newspaper. We implore you to please check those national dailies and many others we've not been able to take and check stories making headlines today. As we take our first break on the program, when we return, it will be time to take a closer look at the government's intervention in the issue of land titles. We'll be with you shortly. Please stay with us. glad to know you're still with us on the program. Now, our talking points today centers on the certificate of occupancy debate and government intervention. I'm being joined this morning by the Administrative Secretary of the Ministry of Lands and Housing, Architect Oluwasegun. It's also have you joined us. Let's quickly what some have termed intervention of home ownership charter, that's HOCRs, as you call it there. Many do not know the validity period of this program. And so when questions as to obtaining certificate of occupancy, which is the land title in any case, crops up, they tell me, look, government says this thing is cheap and fast. Is it still like that, or there's a change already?
Well, let me start by mentioning that the certificate of occupancy title document is the most important document for a piece of land or a landed property. And this is already captured in the Land Use Act of 1978. And in that act, Mr. Governor has the prerogative to issue or direct the issuance of CFO to any applicant. In this stage, we have been looking at various ideas at the ease of issuing CFO to the Trini public. We have what we classified as the conventional method of CFO. Then sometimes last year, Mr. Governor Arakoni approved the home ownership charter of the State program, which was launched at a very beautiful ceremony, sometimes in January 2022. And the whole idea was to look at those challenges, those hindrances that prevents people from obtaining CFO.
Involving bottlenecks?
Not really.
Okay.
These are statutory things.
Okay.
And one of those issue was the procurement of tax clearance. We understand the fact that not everybody that applies for CFO resides in the state. We have a lot of people in the diaspora that reach money here, they develop property and all that. And, you know, procurement of tax clearance was a big issue for them because if you go around, you discover that the least you can spend on obtaining a tax clearance is in the hundreds of thousands. So government now said, okay, we should do that and relax the entire process, but not in terms of other documents that you need to submit for the issuance of that CFO. You need to obtain a form, you need to submit a valid survey plan, you need to present what you call root of title. How did you get to possess that land? So, and under this so-called, we have been doing all that, you know.
So what is this root of title? So
root of title are the receipt of purchase, maybe
from the family or whatever, then deed of
conveyance, agreements, affidavits, sworn affidavits.
So that you're not using technical terms that people don't understand.
Sworn affidavits and the likes. So these are the documents that we work on, and these are documents that proves that the land belongs to you.
How well has this been able to work? The picture you've painted, not just today, even before now, since the takeoff of that program, was given a gesture that yes, people will now have the ease of obtaining their CFOs. Now, from your time when you're the administrative secretary, so you would have the facts and the figures. How many people have been able to benefit from this? Do people really embrace it? Was the essence really coming to fruition?
Yeah, in terms of the number of CFO we have issued under the cost platform, the figure is encouraging. But we, as a ministry, we have continuously hinged on the fact there must be continuous enlightenment because even the conventional CFO people don't readily subscribe to it. So thereby losing a lot of benefits. So we do sensitize the public, enlighten them, distribute handbills, we have billboards, sometimes we do road shows, we do public engagement to sensitize the people. And in fact, in terms of, looking at the OCOS program, it is quite cheaper than the conventional one. Yeah, it's quite cheaper. Under the OCOS agreement, you pay 150,000, and that is all.
Are you sure that is all?
Yeah, that is all.
Just 150,000 and that is all. That is apart from the form and other things?
The form is 6,000 naira.
Because I need us to spell this thing out, Architect Oguro. Many have said that you come out and say, government is doing this is how much you're going to pay. But when people get to the bridge, to cross the bridge, they discover that there are many waters that are still covering the bridge.
No, that is not correct. That's not correct.
That's why I want us to spell out
that is
what other payments will they make apart from the 150,000.
You pay 6,000 for the form,
Very well.
then you pay 150,000 naira for the processing, and this includes the stamp duty. Yeah, under the old cost. We have suspended that program a while now, and what we have been doing is the conventional CFO processing.
Okay, just a moment there. So under the OCOS program, it was 156,000
naira for a plot of land.
For a plot of land.
Yes.
So if it's 2 plots, it's times 2.
No, it's not times 2.
Okay.
It's about 175,000 naira.
Just a little.
Yes, yeah, a little more than that.
And if it's 3 plots,
yeah,
just a little more.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something like a sliding scale.
Okay.
It's
a percentage as a
yeah.
Okay. Your point is well made. Now, you said you suspended the program for a while.
Yeah.
It's the conventional
issuance. Yes.
How much is the conventional?
Well,
and what's the process of obtaining the conventional CFO?
Well, in terms of fee, we don't have a fixed fee because we have different categories of CFO, and there are a lot of factors that determines how much you pay for a CFO. The use of the land, if it's residential, it's cheaper. Agriculture is extremely almost free to process CFO title for agricultural land. Industrial is much more expensive. We have the commercial, we have the mixed use and the likes. Then the size of the land. But if I have to situate it, the cheapest you can get under the conventional procedure, under the conventional procedure for a piece of land,
a plot of land is about 85 to 90,000 naira. 85 to 90,000 naira.
Yes.
Why is the conventional cheaper than the interventionist program?
No, it's not cheaper because under the conventional you have to procure tax clearance, and we know how much tax clearance costs.
Okay.
So when you add that to it, you observe the conventional is much cheaper. So the OCOS arrangement was basically for those who don't reside in Ondo State, who have to come and pay so much to get a tax.
Let me paint a hypothetical case for you. Perhaps it's not even hypothetical. A couple purchase the land. They want to get the CFO. Who files for tax clearance? Is it going to be both of them or one of them? Especially in the case when it's just one of them residing in Nigeria and the other outside the country.
Well, it depends on the name on the survey title.
Okay.
You know, these are things that have been causing us a lot of delays in the issuance of CFO.
So you agree that the hypothetical case is a
it's a real life scenario. There are individuals or couples that when they are buying their land, they engage a surveyor to do a survey plan for them, and they put it Mr. and Mrs. Oluwasegun Oguro. At the point of applying for CFO, then it will dawn on them that Mr. and Mrs. Oluwasegun Oguro is different from Mr. Oluwasegun Oguro and Mrs. Dorcas Oguro. So they will now put two names in the application, which is acceptable. But by the time we start, looking at it legally, there is no how that you can say two individuals and one individual are the same. So at that point, we will now direct them to go and change the title on the survey plan, because it has to be sequential. The way we proceed with our internal processes. So it has to be sequential. So if you are applying as Mr. Shegun Oguro and Mrs. Dorcas Oguro, you will produce two certificates of, two tax clearance certificates. But if it's Mr. and Mrs. Shegun Oguro, we'll just pick Shegun Oguro and we'll process with just one tax clearance certificate.
Let's reiterate that point. Now, if you're applying for certificate of occupancy, it's bearing two names, Mr. Shegun Oguro and Mrs. Dorcas Oguro.
Yes.
Such person will present two tax clearance.
Yes.
Or if it's Mr. and Mrs. Shegun Oguro, it will be treated as one entity.
Yeah.
Now, what are the benefits of obtaining certificate of occupancy?
Yeah.
Many people would think that government is coming just to break in money. It is another method of internal revenue generation. Is that correct?
Well, issuance of CFO is more like service to the public.
Service to the public coming at a cost?
Yeah, at a cost, because you know that recently we have digitalized our operations and it doesn't come cheap. So what government charge for CFO compared to neighboring states is relatively low. In Ekiti State, you pay almost double what we charge in Edo State. But looking at the benefits, it is enormous. One, if you have a CFO, it proves that you own the land by law. Two, it can be used as a collateral for you to obtain some services from established financial institutions. There are, in fact, in this environment, we have a lot of people that are into businesses that are rushing to our office to process CFO because they can easily take it to the bank and create wealth with it. So a lot of our people are ignorant of this.
So it's a wealth creation document?
Yes, it is. And most especially for those in the agricultural sector, it's an important document that is acceptable by those agencies that grant soft loans to people in the agricultural sector. So if you have like 10 acres of cocoa plantation, you can improve upon it by simply procuring a CFO, because the CFO will describe the location of that place. It will tell us the names, it will tell us the name of the owner, it will tell us the size of the land, and it is easy for government or for those institutions to rely on that document, because there is a land registry that keeps all such documents. So it is easy for one to relate with that document. So aside from that, it is not possible for us to issue two CFOs on a particular land. It's virtually impossible. So at least if you have a CFO, you know that somebody is not coming tomorrow to say that. Yeah, of course. So, and also with the expansion of government program and development in our society, government often require the use of specific lands for overriding public interest. If you have a CFO of that land, government cannot take that land from you without compensation. So there is so much that one benefits by procuring a CFO.
Now, you did talk about the length of time to be able to obtain CFO under the Open scheme. That's like 60 days.
Yes,
that's
60 working days. Yes.
Now, under the conventional process of obtaining CFO, how long does it take?
It's still the same 60 days.
60 days.
Yeah, because we don't have parallel procedure for OCOS and the conventional. We process the same, both schemes, through the same procedure. And we also go through advertisement and the likes. So the only difference is the relaxation of the tax clearance papers. So 60 working days, the CFO will be issued. But there are so many challenges that prevents us from achieving that 60 days. There are individuals that got their CFO less than 50 days. Yes, there are individuals who meet up all the requirements. You know, like as I mentioned earlier, that somebody procured a survey plan in the name of Mr. and Mrs. Shegun Group, and when he's doing his application, he now did Mr. and Mr. Shegun and Mrs. Dokas. So that will not fly. So when they get to our office, we now tell them that no, you have to go and change the title on your survey. You know, it will take time. Sometimes they won't submit proof of ownership, and even those sometimes individuals will submit proof of ownership that are defective. So these are processes we go through a lot of scrutiny before we finally issue the CFO. Yeah. So these are just challenges that have prevented people from getting CFO within the stipulated time.
Now, even with these challenges, how well will the people of Ondo State benefit from this conventional process of issuance of CFO, especially when there are issues owing to individual laxity, like you also mentioned? How about the bureaucratic bottlenecks? How well is government able to break this to make it easier for people to get it?
Yeah, within our system, we have continuously improved. Yeah, as we are aware, we now have a digitalized CFO, and also we are day by day improving on our internal procedures towards issuance of the CFO. And there are instances that we move fast track the issuance of CFO. Yeah, we do all this.
In this instance of conventional issuance, the issue of tax clearance is not waived. So what's the collaboration between your ministry and the Internal Revenue Generation Service, that's Internal Revenue Service, IRS, to make these things easier, at least for the people? Yes, it's not waived, but they should also not go through on to that sheet to get tax clearance.
Yeah,
if you agree with me.
Yeah, for those who are in government employment, it's very, very fast for them to get a tax paper. For the private citizens, all you need to do is just to log into the IRS website, and once you put in your details, go to the office, pay the prescribed fee. It will be out under 3 days.
Under 3
days, that I know. But the issue is this: a lot of our people, and that is the essence of we doing a continuous enlightenment, because a lot of people will just presume that because you have a survey plan, you can walk into the CFO office and obtain CFO. So we need to educate our people on what the requirements are.
Now, you've talked about the requirements.
Yes.
What's the process?
Yeah, the process is you obtain an application form, then submit.
Is this 6,000 naira?
No, for residential under the conventional is 5,000 naira for a residential application. For commercial is 10,000. Then for some categories of like industrial, I think it's about 20,000 naira for the application fee. Then it will be assessed. It will be assessed at the CFO office. Then the prescribed fee will be communicated to the applicant. So once you pay the prescribed fees and all the documents are okay, you can be rest assured that within 60 days you will get your CFO.
Now, how well does the issue of legality come into play in these processes? Because some will tell you that maybe they will be needing to come with their lawyer, or maybe they need to go get a particular undertaking from anybody. Does that really come into play?
Well, yes, you can process with your, your lawyers can process a CFO for you. It's accepted. But important for us is you bringing the correct and appropriate documents.
By who? Certified by who? I'm asking this because of the problems and challenges that you might face in the process of what I term third party or second party or fourth party standing down. Some people say it's my brother's uncle's auntie that owns the land, so I want to process this for him. How do you verify that, of course, these documents are for this person and this person is the real owner of this particular land?
Well, we do a lot of due diligence and investigation. Some of these documents are verified by our sister agencies like the survey. We push it to the Office of the Survey General and they confirm it in writing. In fact, the Survey General will put his seal and signature on the survey plan. And this tells us that this survey is genuine. And we also demand court affidavits, which I believe that is also a a good document for the processing of CFO. Then this is from the families that sold the land, and interestingly, some of these layouts are approved by government, so we know the names and know the people that signed. So all this we check in our offices before we finally issue the CFO document.
Every system of government is run by people,
Yeah.
and these people are not angels. At least I've touched you today, I know you're not an angel. So then, in case you make a mistake, let's assume a mistake occurred and then you issue certificate of occupancy erroneously. So someone who was not deemed fit to really hold that certificate of occupancy.
Yeah. In that case, we write for the withdrawal of such certificate of occupancy. We do. And it has happened in the past.
Now to the real,
Then you go. The handbook of the procedures and guidelines established for our operations. And you understand that we are not in there. And we also understand that there are people there that are very fraudulent and they can do a lot of manipulations to get things. So
that brings me to the next issue at stake. How do you detect and deal with quackery and the processing of certificate of occupancy? People, they call themselves good. Some call them bad boys. Whatever name they call them. Anyone involving himself in illegality, I do not know what is good about the person. So, how do you detect such sharp practices and deal with such?
well, with the model we are operating at present is very difficult. It is very difficult for somebody to forge our certificate of occupancy. Okay. It's extremely difficult. Extremely. But we can't rule out this issue of intermediaries.
That's the word.
And that is where a lot of the teeming public out there fall victim. You give money to somebody that claims to know how to do it fast for you, and at the end of the day, you lose your money, and even in some instances, you lose your documents. And we have been telling people that, we run a very open and transparent office. Nothing stops you from walking into our office and ask questions. Please guide me through this process. And we have responsible, hardworking officers in the CFO office that will gladly take you through all these procedures. Just yesterday, somebody walked into my office and said that I submitted an application almost 3 years and all that. And immediately someone in my office had to fetch the file. And when we looked at it, of course, that person submitted an application and never paid. Yes. So what do you expect? So the file will just be there. And there are a lot of cases like that. A lot. Some just very little things. They won't come back to ensure that they perfect it, and the application will just be there.
And after coming after many years, inflation will
have so we tell them to pay the current rate. But nevertheless, we have also we have agreed to set up a contact center.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
a
like
contact
really
center.
Yes,
a contact center where people can call in to
from
find
the comfort of their own.
Yes, call our officers within the working hours to make inquiries on CFO issuance and pending applications.
Is the phone number ready now?
Yes, we are in the process of getting the phone number. Yeah, from this service provider. Yeah. So before the end of this, let me just say by next week, we should be in operation. And these activities we are doing, this enlightenment campaign we are doing, is a continuous process. Recently, we have done jingles on radios and all that. We have been distributing flyers and all that. So the phone number will be provided. And for those who intend to possibly only WhatsApp, I will give my phone number. You can just send your queries and challenges.
How to deal with all of the
08033620045.
The people. I do not think that there is any system that is foolproof of people who might be bad eggs.
Of course.
Internally, I mean.
Yeah.
How do you also deal with officers?
Okay. Well, as you know, in the public service, they established a procedure for disciplinary action, and we have never shied away from it because we understand how sensitive the functions we perform in the office are. So we, as a ministry, from time to time, encourage our officers to be transparent, to be of integrity, and also to be above board. But in instances where we have such cases, just we treat it through our internal procedure.
And anything can happen on the land, and then you would have a right to read.
You know that by the Land Use Act, that the entire land in the state is vested
In the governor.
who holds it in trust and administers it for the benefit of all. So that means that we are more like a tenant of the land for maybe the tenure period 99 and 20 years it applies. So at the end of that period, you can apply. And most times when you apply, you grant. Recently, there are petrol stations that were granted CFO about over 40 years ago, and they came back and we looked at it that the operation is still within the acceptable land use. We renew their certificate of occupancy.
Thank you so much for shedding light on those issues. Please rest assured we will continue to engage you so that people do not fall victim of these illegal intermediaries. And then I also hope that you would make your door wide open for people to be able to access and clarify anything they need to. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone, I have to thank you so much for being part of the outlook this morning. This is where we say a big thank you for being part of it. Of course, it returns on Friday, God willing. I am Sunday Konawale, in Real Estate.